Today, we embark on a crusade for the top, splendid single-player games from the past. I'll immediately set the golden rule. Games from the past are mastodons that were strictly released before 2014 or at most 2015. This means each of these legends is at least 10, if not more, years old. Forget rose-tinted nostalgia. These games still look and feel better than 90% of what comes out now. Ready? Then let's hit the nitrous! Metro: Last Light. This is no longer a blitzkrieg, but a full-fledged, gloomy adventure in the tunnels of the Moscow Metro and on the surface of the post-apocalyptic capital. Narratively, it's a direct continuation of Metro 2033, where the protagonist, Artyom, faces the consequences of his choice. It turned out that not all the Dark Ones, unique mutants he destroyed at the end of the first part, died, and one small one remains. Our task is to figure out what to do with it before a new wave of horror hits the remnants of humanity. If the first part confined us to stuffy tunnels, Last Light throws the doors wide open to the surface. And believe me, Surface Moscow is implemented beautifully. Every ruined location, every irradiated square, every screenshot is an artistic masterpiece. A game that is a decade old has retained its visual charm. Last Light is a worthy, large-scale sequel that not only preserved the original's gloomy atmosphere, but also added more action, more horror, and, most importantly, more hope. Battlefield 3. If Battlefield 4 is a drama, then Battlefield 3 is a blitzkrieg. It's one of the shortest games on this list, which you can fly through in literally one intense evening. 3.5 hours of pure, unadulterated action. The story here is, as expected, simple as can be, but that simplicity is its charm. We play as the seasoned soldier Blackburn, who, while in captivity, recounts his story of how he got to this point, transporting us to the hottest points of the conflict. The story doesn't claim to be a masterpiece, but it's damn dynamic and perfect for those looking for a short but vivid adventure. The game was released in 2011, but still looks very decent. But the main thing that cannot be overlooked is the FA-18 Super Hornet fighter jet mission. You don't control it directly, but the staging, the sense of speed, the sounds, all of it created total delight back in the day. It's the perfect single-player shooter that won't take up much time but will deliver maximum emotional impact. Oh, the darkness! The first installment that was missed by many PC gamers due to its console-exclusive status. And that was a tragic mistake. Unlike the more famous second part, the original is a gloomy, heavy, vicious, and incredibly atmospheric immersion into the story of Jackie Estacado, a young hitman betrayed by his mobster uncle. On his 21st birthday, he receives not just a gunshot wound, but a dark, ancient power, the darkness that lives inside him and craves blood. The entire game is an uncompromising, brutal path of bloody revenge. The darkness manifests as two writhing, fanged, Goronick-like creatures behind Jackie that feed on enemies' hearts to grow and become stronger. But the main diamond here is New York. Not the glossy one, but the genuine 90s New York gloom. Underground subway tunnels, filthy back alleys, perpetual night, and the feeling that you're the only normal person among the riffraff and gangsters. This is the atmosphere that modern games have lost. The darkness is the Crow, the 1994 film if you need a reference, of the video game world, with a unique noir feel and a powerful gothic subtext. If you decide to play it, only do so via an Xbox 360 emulator. You'll get 60 FPS, proper lighting, and the game looks significantly better. This isn't just a shooter, it's a gloomy movie where you're the main actor. Assassin's Creed 3. I won't hide it, I used to be crazy about Ubisoft games, and the third installment is still one of my favorites, standing alongside Black Flag and the Ezio trilogy. Why? Because it showed that the conflict between the Assassins and the Templars isn't just black and white. It gave us two heroes, Haytham Kenway and his son, Connor, Ratenhun Cacotin, and allowed us to view the American Revolutionary War from different, opposing sides. In terms of gameplay, it was a qualitative leap. Parkour became much smoother, allowing Connor to run not only on rooftops, but also through the trees and rocks of the wilderness. The combat system was redesigned, borrowing heavily from the Arkham series, which turned fights from mere skirmishes into bloody, epic ballets set against a backdrop of revolutionary events. Remember how you single-handedly crushed squads of redcoats using your tomahawk and hidden blades? Yes, the game might seem drawn out, especially the prologue with Haytham, but the story of redemption and the role Connor plays in the birth of a new nation are worth it. If you're looking for a historical epic with deep drama, don't pass this by. Uncharted. The Nathan Drake Collection is a compilation that gave a second life to the magnificent trilogy from Naughty Dog on PS4, upgrading the resolution to Full HD and stabilizing the coveted 60 frames per second. The trilogy itself is the gold standard of adventure action in the spirit of Indiana Jones or Lara Croft, but with the charisma of Nathan Drake. In each game, you embark on insane, epic treasure hunts. Uncharted 2: Among Thieves is still considered one of the best games in history. It featured an overwhelming number of locations, from Turkish museums to the snowy mountains of Nepal. The game constantly delivers epic scenes. Remember the train chase that became its calling card? Puzzles, gunfights, drama, humor, everything is perfectly balanced. If you love expensive Hollywood-style adventures that keep you on the edge until the very end and you're not afraid of console exclusives, missing Uncharted is simply unforgivable. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I'll be honest right away, you don't need to know the entire convoluted lore of the main Metal Gear series to jump into Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. You launch this game for one simple reason: the memes! But you stay for the perfect casual slasher from Platinum Games. We play as the cyborg Raiden, who turns enemies into cabbage, and that's not a figure of speech. The Blade Mode mechanic allows you to slow down time and slice the enemy into hundreds of tiny pieces, like a chef wielding a Japanese knife. What makes this game legendary? The music. Every boss here has its own personal metal ode that doesn't just play, it builds. The fight starts with a mild intro, but as soon as the enemy transitions to the second phase, the music explodes, turning the screen into a total epic massacre accompanied by aggressive vocals. It's pure adrenaline that's impossible to describe in words. Those nano-monomoms, son. It's not just about the plot, but about charismatic villains like Senator Armstrong. The game is the highest form of fun you can get from the slasher genre, and it remains a model of style and dynamics. Batman: Arkham City is a textbook for all modern studios on the topic, how do you make a sequel to a perfect game? The answer is simple. Take everything that worked in Arkham Asylum and expand it to a scale that seems utterly impossible. The storyline directly follows the events of the first installment, but now the arena of action isn't a small, gloomy asylum, but an entire district of Gotham, transformed into a colossal prison called Arkham City. You're Batman, and your task is to stop Hugo Strange and his mysterious Protocol 10 before the city descends into total hell. What's brilliant here? The combat system. It's maximally seamless, fluid, and intuitive, yet it gives an unparalleled feeling of the Dark Knight's unstoppable power. In this game, you don't just fight, you dance death. And of course, the villains. The encounter with each of them, be it Two-Face, the Penguin, or oh, that unforgettable Clayface, is a little work of art. And that moment when they let you play as Catwoman, it was pure, unadulterated pleasure that added charm and variety to the game. Arkham City isn't just a sequel, it's a universe expansion to perfect dimensions, where every shadow, every secret, and every quest feels vital. If you're looking for the ideal superhero action game, you've found it, period. Alan Wake's American Nightmare. In all fairness, Alan Wake's American Nightmare is a large-scale DLC to the first part, but due to Remedy's inexplicable logic, it was released as a separate game. It's a continuation of the story of the writer Alan Wake and his fight against the darkness. But while the action was previously set in gloomy, foggy Bright Falls in the Northwest, now we are thrown into a hot, dusty Arizona. The story revolves around a time loop that Alan must find a way out of, battling his evil double, Mr. Scratch. The original Alan Wake was more about atmosphere and horror, but American Nightmare focuses on full-fledged action. There are many more weapons, and the mechanic of shine the flashlight, strip away the darkness, feed them lead is refined to perfection. Now the notes you find don't just supplement the lore, but also serve as keys for opening weapon chests. It's not a revolutionary project, but if you're craving Remedy's signature style and want more shooting and less horror, this psychological thriller in the desert awaits you. If you missed it, it's not critical, but as a small snack before the new Alan Wake, it's the perfect choice. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Every Assassin's Creed fan has their favorite installment. I have 3, and Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag holds an honorable place. This is a story that turned the series concept inside out. Our hero, Edward Kenway, isn't a saintly assassin saving the world. His goal? Money, glory, lots of rum, and free sailing. It was this lack of pomposity that won over millions of players. The game is saturated with pirate romance. It's Pirates of the Caribbean that you can play. The naval battles still look splendid, and I dare say better than in Skull and Bones, for example. Put on He's a Pirate and set sail on your ship the Jackdaw into a storm to capture a galleon. The ending. The moment when you're left alone, realizing the price of your ambitions and the ghosts of the past come to you? That was a masterpiece of script writing that can bring a grown man to tears. Black Flag is the perfect balance between naval action and assassin stealth, and it's the game that will make you want to buy a season pass to the sea. Far Cry 3, the game that birthed the modern Far Cry, and the game that series fans still consider the absolute peak of the franchise. 12 years ago, it gave us everything we love: a splendid villain, an interesting narrative core, refined stealth, and the outposts that became Ubisoft's calling card. The plot centers on Jason Brody, who, along with his friends, is captured by pirates on a tropical island. His journey is a transformation from a pampered boy into a ruthless killing machine. Of course, the main spectacle is Vos Montenegro. Canadian actor Michael Mando created an immortal image of madness that doesn't just frighten, but captivates. His monologues, his unpredictability, his gaze, this is an Oscar-worthy acting performance. Far Cry 3 was perfect in its pace. There were no tedious missions, every task was at least interesting. You simply must remember the mission where you have to burn cannabis fields to a splendid dubstep track. That was pure gamer ecstasy. This game locked the pirates on the island with you, not the other way around. And if you're looking for a benchmark tropical action game that hasn't aged, come here. Red Dead Redemption. This isn't just a Rockstar game, it's a diamond that still shines brighter than many modern projects. Calling it GTA in the Wild West is to misunderstand its depth. RDR is first and foremost a tragedy and a story of redemption for John Marston, a former outlaw who is blackmailed by the Bureau of Investigation, FBI, into hunting down and eliminating his former gang members to get his family back and find peace. The game, released 14 years ago, still feels a cut above any modern open-world project in terms of atmosphere and world detail. Every random event, every encounter, every NPC, everything works to create a living, breathing Wild West. That moment when you first cross the border into Mexico and the camera slowly pans to the accompaniment of Jose Gonzalez, far away, it was a pure cinematic orgasm. And of course, the ending. If you didn't shed a tear playing as John Marston in the finale, you have a steel safe instead of a heart. By the way, for PC gamers, play it through the Nintendo Switch emulator, where the game was ported with adequate translation and stable FPS. It's a legend that's mandatory to play. Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. I've already talked about the first Lords of Shadow, so it would be a sin to bypass Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. Immediate advice: play with a gamepad. It's pure, concentrated slasher where you control Dracula himself, Gabriel Belmont, awakened after centuries of sleep. Your goal is not just to fight new enemies, but to get rid of the curse of immortality and stop Satan, who seeks to destroy the world. The plot revolves around Dracula's struggle with his past and present, and it gives a new Gothic reading to the classic story. The atmosphere and the game's Gothic style are over the top, but the main thing is the combat. It's fantastically staged and still looks very decent even in 2024. Dracula, wielding his shadow whip, turns enemies into a bloody mess. This is the last great game in the Castlevania series, and if you've missed the slasher genre with a gloomy, epic story, this is for you. Battlefield 4 isn't just a shooter, it's an epitaph to the genre of focused, cinematic military campaigns. If you think Battlefield is only about multiplayer, you're not just mistaken. You missed one of the most dramatically staged military action movies in history. The plot, by the series standards, is simply ultimate. The story of Marine Private Daniel Recker and his squad Tombstone, caught in a global conflict between the USA, Russia, and China, unfolds with such speed and pomp that Michael Bay would choke on his popcorn. You play through the game virtually non-stop over a couple of evenings, but those evenings will be imprinted in your memory forever. Remember the aircraft carrier mission, the prison break, or for heaven's sake, that Shanghai mission when a skyscraper is collapsing all around you and you're struggling to fight through the chaos. Each mission is a complete, brutal, and incredibly beautiful stage spectacle. Special praise goes to the sound. Every firefight, every grenade blast is a complete auditory paradise, still unmatched by many modern shooters. The impactful, rich, weighty sound is physically felt. If you thought Call of Duty had a monopoly on drama, the fourth Battlefield proved that you can create a focused, uncompromising military action game that doesn't collapse under narrative crutches. And it was the series' last genuinely strong attempt at a single-player game. After that, only silence and bitterness. Mafia: The City of Lost Heaven, a game released back in 2002. Yes, you could just recommend playing the remake, which is excellent, but the original is different. I specifically played it to understand what I missed, getting stuck on that infamous race mission. What I missed, as it turned out, was an incredibly well-developed and heart-wrenching story of the taxi driver Thomas Angelo, who accidentally falls into the criminal underworld of Lost Heaven and voluntarily chooses to become part of the Salieri crime family. Every mission here is memorable. It's worked out in the smallest detail and often offers several ways to complete it. It's not just an open world, it's a movie game in the spirit of The Godfather. The plot, dialogues, characters, everything is top-notch. It was that rare case where the gameplay, which now of course seems clunky and difficult, took a back seat to the narrative. Who remembers the endless drives across the Giuliano Bridge? That was our payment for immersion into the era of the Prohibition and genuine mafia honor. This game is a document of an era that proves that a good story doesn't age. Batman Arkham Asylum. This game, released in 2009, blew up the industry, proving that superhero games could be fully fledged, expensive, single-player projects capable of competing with giants like Assassin's Creed 2 and Uncharted 2. The plot is painfully simple, as it should be in comics. Batman brings the Joker to Gotham's main asylum, Arkham Asylum Island, but the Clown Prince of Crime, of course, escapes, causes a riot, and takes over the entire island. You have one night to restore order. This game became legendary thanks to three pillars: the ingenious combat system, later copied by dozens of games, the unparalleled atmosphere, and of course, the villains. The Scarecrow with his fear toxins is the highest form of game design. Those hallucination levels where the world around you swim and distorts still give you chills. Every boss fight is a separate mechanical puzzle that requires its own approach. Arkham Asylum is a contained, gloomy, and incredibly dense horror action game that laid the foundation for the entire future series and forever changed our perception of superhero games. Gears of War 2006. If Sony had Uncharted, Microsoft with their Xbox 360 had Gears of War. The first installment, released in 2006, still remains arguably the darkest, most oppressive, and uncompromising game in the series. On the planet Serra, a war for survival is raging between the remnants of humanity and the locust Lambent. We play as Marcus Fenix, a seasoned warrior who must lead a squad. Gears of War went down in history thanks to its cover system. The ability to hug a wall, roll, and fire from around a corner was revolutionary and became the standard for many future shooters. But the most important thing? The difficulty. Even on easy, Gears will make you suffer. Enemies here are smart. They flank you, throw grenades, and execute crossfire. Every firefight is a test of nerves and tactical ingenuity. This is not just a shooter. It's a gloomy, hardcore action movie where you have to think to survive. Mafia 2. This is the game that fans of the first part rejected, calling it trash, but which a new generation of gamers loved, and rightly so. Mafia 2 is an atmospheric, deep, and incredibly stylish story of Vito Scaletta, who returns from the war to start a new life in the criminal sphere of Empire Bay. It's not just a game, it's a playable gangster saga with perfectly written plot and characters. Vito starts as the lowest-ranking member of the Mafia family and goes all the way to a full-fledged mafioso. But the main diamond here is Joe Barbaro, Vito's friend. Joe is the main highlight of the game. Without his charisma, humor, and most importantly, tragic loyalty, Mafia 2 wouldn't be so iconic. The soundtrack is a story in itself. Songs from the 40s and 50s emanating from the radio create a unique atmosphere. And do you remember the ending, when you realize that friendship isn't always forever? Joe wasn't part of the deal. That's the phrase that breaks your heart and makes you reevaluate the entire story. If you love drama, style, and the era, you must play this game immediately. Especially now that the global modification, the Final Cut, which restores cut content, has been released. BioShock Infinite. This is the swan song of a great series, and for many, the best game in the genre for the entire decade. We are taken not to the gloomy underwater depths of Rapture, but to the soaring utopian city of Columbia, woven from the American dream, religious fanaticism, and hot air balloons. The protagonist, Booker DeWitt, goes there with a seemingly simple task: bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. That girl is Elizabeth, and she's the key not just to the debt, but to understanding the multiverse, paradoxes, and choice. The gameplay itself is an incredibly dynamic first-person shooter where gunfights on the skylines blend with the use of plasmids, here called Vigors. But who are we kidding? You buy Infinite not for the shooting, but for the story! This is that game after which you go to YouTube to the lore masters to make sure you didn't miss anything. And if you play it, skipping the audio diaries and notes, you betray yourself. The final scene, which forever shattered your understanding of cause and effect, forcing you to reevaluate the entire trilogy, is a gold standard of script writing. And do you remember the moment when you first see Rapture in a different style? The game still looks stunning, proving that art style is more important than any RTX card. Infinite is pure, concentrated narrative enjoyment.